Hi, Kathy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great today.
It was good to see you in person in Austin. That was a lot of fun. I think it was a very successful event, both for my team and for all the attendees that came and I think walked away a lot better leaders at this company. Would you say so?
I think they left with some action items,
Yeah.
which is what we love, some things that they can go back and implement immediately. I will be honest with both of you. It's taken me a while to recover. It was just an exhausting few days. So, but in a great way. That's not a negative. That's a just, I'm getting old and it's
Well,
taken longer to get over it.
but I also think for those that didn't attend or don't know, Kathy and Mark were actually the ones that put on the majority of this event. So that's I mean, Corey is typically the one that's emceeing these events, and I've spoken with her. I know how much work goes into doing that. So that will definitely take a toll on anyone.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was really great fun.
And so I think we're still on this kind of kick from base camp. We're looking at what's next for the leaders of our company, and we've talked about this before, but I really want to get into the weeds on it. I want to talk about recruiting, and from a broker owner standpoint, from whether you're a part of a team, and we realize the market is shifting, as we've been saying, but that doesn't mean that there's not opportunity to recruit some really, really, really good people. And so, yeah, let's get into that today.
Yeah, it's interesting, and the market combined with the time of year it is, and I always liken it to when you hit Q4. If agents are in a company that they are not completely satisfied with, it's like being in a movie. It's like being at the movies,
Yeah.
and you've paid this ticket, right? And you keep going, man, I heard all these great things about this movie and it's a pretty shitty movie. And I'm waiting for it to get better. And Q4, it's like the credits start rolling, or the music, you can tell by the music, okay, we're at the end here and it's not any better. And I think emotionally, that's what happens with agents. They get to Q4 and go, everything I've been promised hasn't been brought forward.
Yeah.
And I'm at the end of the year and I'm not seeing the rainbow. I'm not seeing that light. I'm not seeing what I was promised. So emotionally, agents in Q4 start to look for a difference. I think a slowing market, Josh, is going to create people, and we've talked this to death. I know we talked about it at base camp. You and I have addressed it in many of our podcast episodes, but it is predicted that in 2023, we will have fewer transactions.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that. Fewer than we had in 20 and 21.
Right.
Not fewer than a normal market. We're going to go back to a more adjusted normal market. For some agents, that's going to be, oh my goodness, and they're going to want to be in a more stable company. Right. So the time is perfect for us to talk about recruiting.
And so I know you and I have talked about this off camera. It's about implementing the right systems. And so let's kind of just get into actually, let me take it a couple steps backwards. So you have agents that are scrambling, for lack of other words. They're looking to, have a little bit more stability in their business. Obviously, this market is not, actually, it's just adjusted, like you said, but it's not normal compared to the last 2 years. So
correct.
How do you, one, implement the right systems to grab some of these professionals, but two, how do you know that they for lack of other words, are a successful agent? Because you don't just want to boost your agent count if they're not producing, right?
Right. You want to get producers, and it's a lot of, the first step, and what a great point, is that data mining. And you do that through MLS, and you can go in and set up searches and just see who's a rising star and who's a falling star. What we find is that the agents who are down a little bit, a falling star is always easier to catch than a rising star. So you're exactly right. And the first step is building that database and creating that wish list, if you would, or that most wanted, whatever you want to call it, but making sure that you've identified the talent that you want that's going to add to your market share, the stability of your office, and that you can you know, you can change their life. And this sounds so hokey, and I don't mean for it to, but you really can make a difference in an agent's life by just helping them to close 1 to 2 to 3 more transactions.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times, if you can enable an agent to close 1 transaction per quarter, you've doubled their income.
Mm-hmm.
And that's significant. That's life-changing. So you want to look at who is that sweet spot that you think you can go in and get, and then who are those medium to top producers that you can bring in and really make a significant difference.
Well, and I think to piggyback on that point, you know, when you're recruiting these agents that are looking for stability, like I was saying before, you're recruiting them, but then when you help them and you put this impact on their business and their life, you're creating retention at that point, because then you have them as an agent and they're not going to go looking for another brokerage in a year's time.
Right. The most, well said, the most effective recruiting you can do is retention. So once you get them, to make sure you keep them in production is key. And make sure that they're utilizing the tools that you provide, which is a big part of what we do. Is that, you know, we've got a whole team, and we'll hear more about that in the next couple of weeks, in adoption of product and making sure that you're sticky, you know, making sure that you're providing what they need to stay in production.
Yeah.
There are a lot of distractions right now.
Well, and so like, let's kind of break down some of these things that you need within your system to be a successful recruiter. And I think one of them, and this is where actually I think I can provide some professional opinion, is on consistent communication, on great marketing and branding. And so, Kathy, what have you seen that, you know, successful brokers or successful recruiters are doing, even in times like this?
It's consistency. And people don't want to be vomited on. Can I say that? Is Brian going to edit that out? Probably not. Okay.
No,
people don't want to be vomited on. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. People don't want to be vomited on. They want to know, how am I going to increase transaction count? And it needs to be a tease. And and where I need your help is, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know, you can hold his head under the water and he's going to drink or drown. But if you salt the oats, he becomes thirsty. Right. And that's how you get him to drink. So the question to you is, what marketing pieces, how do you salt the oats to get the agents to go, wow, I need to know more about that? I mean, you give them just enough that they go, oh, let me investigate.
I mean, it's a big question with, I think, multiple answers. I think from my own personal perspective and from my team's perspective, we've kind of realized that this industry, if you play your cards right, it's kind of like fishing with dynamite, because if you market and brand yourself correctly, you know, a lot of our competitors, marketing and branding is not top of mind for them. And so we have made an effort to put out, you know, quality over quantity, good marketing, good recruiting tactics. I think it's one of those things where the brand really helps even before you have even read or looked at whatever sort of creative piece we put together. The brand kind of speaks for itself. But I do think that you want to be original. You want to be super consistent, especially when it comes to social content. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself. So take whatever sort of personal opinions you have out of this, because this is your business. So you want to be able to speak to any sort of audience. And also, you need to be looking at your competitors, because stuff is constantly changing. There's new trends in marketing, you know, all the time. And so I think it's a matter of being consistent.
One thing that I think is so cool is that you guys do our marketing. It's not outsourced. And I think that's where a lot of companies that are helping other brokers recruit, they're losing that connection because it's outsourced and there's a third party doing it.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. It's got to stay cutting edge, which you guys do. But you said a word that is so true, and it's consistency. And so if I can just roll back one quick second and say, you guys are creating and providing amazing marketing, but you got to have that hit list or wish list or target list or whatever you want to call it. And you've got to have a way to deliver it that's consistent, because the biggest challenge brokers make in every brand, and ours are not any different, is you got a lot of stuff to do. You're wearing a lot of hats. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you get freaking busy. And if it's not set it and forget it, it's like, oh crap, I need to go recruit. Well, by the time you go, I need to go recruit, you're hungry, right? And you're behind.
Right.
So having, if it's a CRM or having whatever method it is that you're delivering consistently, digital, direct mail, that still works. Flyers, whatever that looks like. And you guys, like I said, are providing that content, but it's got to be on a consistent level.
But I also think, we can create the coolest, catchiest campaigns in the world, but especially a decent professional is going to see through the bullshit if you don't have something behind it. And thankfully,
Right.
Realty ONE Group does. Realty ONE Group has these amazing, curated partnerships and tools and tech and, the education that we provide. And so from my standpoint, it actually makes marketing really easy because it's not smoke and mirrors. It's I know I sound like I've drank the
Right.
Kool-Aid, but it's like, it is legitimate.
Well, statistically, I think our adoption rate of our UVPs is almost 3 times national standards.
Yeah.
I may be making that up. It may be only 2, but it's exceptional, which means we've got the right partners and we're doing the right things. The combination of our team and your team, we're doing the right things to increase that adoption rate, which gets that transaction count higher. And that's what all agents want are leads. And that needs to be the speak in recruiting is how do we get the transactions?
Right.
To pull it back to recruiting, they're puzzle pieces and you can't have one without the other. I've heard brokers complain for a long time. If I just, in other brands, not our brand, if I just had more marketing, no matter how good the marketing is the tease. The marketing is the foundation. The marketing is the setup.
Mm-hmm.
The action is the call. And we're putting out a blog about this, a lot more detail on that you can go in and read if you want to do as far as what you need to do. But you still have to make that call. Now, that used to be 10 digits, right? It used to be dialing the phone. Everybody hated the phone weighed 20,000 pounds. Now it can be text. It can be video. It can be private message. It can be smoke signals. It can be whatever works in your market.
Yeah.
But there's action on part to a company to fill in the blanks of the marketing, the T's of the marketing, and then you offer the solution.
Yeah. And I guess my word of advice to the listeners, to the leaders of our company that are, actively recruiting right now, kind of look back at what we've just said in the last 10 minutes. Use your current agent's success stories as an example. Maybe you had an agent that used something from one suite and they did 2 or 3 more transactions this year than they did in previous years. That's something that an agent who's teeter-tottering between RE/MAX and Realty ONE Group is going to want to hear. And that's something that, us on the marketing team, we do success stories and testimonials all the time from our network because it's cold, hard truth, Now,
you guys are the video specialists, but in coaching, I have often told brokers to get testimonials, and that is like pulling teeth because they'll go to the agent and go, "Can I have a testimonial?" Mm-hmm. And the agent will go, "Yeah, sure," which means never. So what I've told them to do is put them in the car. Get them in the car, let them drive, just hold your iPhone and have one question. What do you love most about being at our brokerage? Yep. An agent that is driving is focused on driving and they speak from the heart and it ends up being very comical. It's like carpool karaoke and, you end up having horns blowing and extra comments and it's real and it's unscripted and it ends up with a great testimonial that's, like I said, from the heart and not over scripted and overthought. So anything brokers can do like that is so cool.
And to that point, Kathy, like I was saying, there's trends are constantly changing in the marketing world. And right now, I mean, you've probably seen it literally on commercials on national television. The big thing right now is user generated content and someone that's literally holding their cell phone and recording a video. And so right now, that's the easiest content in the world to make, and it's super organic and super natural. And so, yes, I encourage all of our broker owners to immediately reach out to their successful agents, the people on their teams that they trust. And I mean, that's the type of content that's going to bring in more successful agents.
But to your point, don't wait for them to have their hair done and their makeup and their nails and their script. Do it, boom, and just make it quick and dirty, and it'll end up being phenomenal.
Because it's relatable, right? And that's what we all want to hear and see as viewers. So I think it's
and then it's viral. Put it on your website. Put it on your social sites. Tag them in it. There are simple ways. I tell you, I've been doing this a long time. I used to crawl through the bushes and look in the windows to find out things about prospects that you can find out on social media now. There's no reason for anybody to say, I hate cold calling. You should. If you're cold calling, shame on you. There is so much information now. I mean, instead of finding out that somebody likes dogs, you find out what breed they like.
Right.
And you make your conversations. This is back to your point. This is relationship building. Recruiting is not speed dating. It is not next. It's we're going to be in a relationship and I'm going to be your broker until I am your broker, regardless of your production, because I need to be the trusted guide. I need to be the navigator. If there's anything that brokers walk away with from this podcast, it's that you are the guide. And this goes back to our friend Donald Miller. You are the guide and they are the hero.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not the hero. You're not the big, busy pants. You're the guide. And when you put yourself in that position from a marketing perspective, from dialogue, from scripting, and you make them the hero, they're going to gravitate towards you.
Totally.
And you're going to have conversations that help you provide very specific value added solutions. Meaning that you're not going to join me because I'm cool and my colors are cool. You're going to join me because I can make a difference in your life and your career.
Yep. I completely agree. And honestly, reading that book was pretty eye-opening from my perspective and my professional career to, when I'm writing content or when I'm putting together campaigns, a lot of times I would think about, how amazing is Realty ONE Group, or how are we different from our competitors, or whatever it may be. After reading that book, I now realized, yes, we are different. We stick out from our competitors and this industry, but what are we providing to our professionals that is different than all of our competitors? And that's how marketing really works, right?
And I will tell you, I think I attribute so much to you and your team for that, because you took that initiative to go into StoryBrand and look at that. And I think it's made a huge difference. I think we were already unconsciously doing it, but it's just kind of like fueled what you were doing.
Yes. And I think like using One.U as an example, that was something that we've had, and I know we've boosted it in recent years, but that was something that I think was already something that Realty ONE Group had as a brand that a lot of other brands did not have. But now we're really pushing it and we're really showing like, okay, this business coaching, this education, this training, this mentorship, those are the difference makers in your career. And I think as before, we were just like, we have this and this is really awesome. But now we're really putting it at the forefront of like our marketing efforts.
Right.
And that's just one thing. And that's another thing that our brokers and our leaders can use to grab some of these agents in their market.
One other thing regarding the interview, I think so many brokers sweat the interview because they think an interview is an interrogation, and it's not. It should be a consultation. And if brokers, a second thing, if brokers will walk away, and if they will have a mindset shift, I almost said something ugly. That's hard to say, a mindset shift. If they will have a mindset shift and approach the interview instead of as a listing presentation, because most of our brokers that are recruiting are realtors. It's not a listing presentation, it's a buyer consultation. So instead of telling, like you do in a listing presentation, this is what I do, this is how I get the highest price in the shortest amount of time, if they will approach it as, Mr. Buyer, tell me what you need, why you need it, how you're going to use it, who's going to benefit, that mindset is going to change their outlook. It's going to change their results significantly because they go from a telling mode to an asking mode. And we go into the blog. It's more about asking than telling. So there are just a few things. Recruiting is recruiting. People have hated it for a long time, but it's what you got to do. Honestly, and I'm just going to be honest, it's for most realtors, it's easier to go sell a house than it is to recruit an agent, because it takes time and investment of time. But if you invest in those people, you get such a significant return.
I agree. Put in the work now and create your team for success, for many years down the line.
And this also goes, I want this message to go not only to broker owners that are affiliates that are building an office, but also teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you're building a team, or we've just released Team Up, which is going to help you either build a team or help you reorganize the team that you have. Everyone's looking for talent. And right now in these market conditions, you're going to see a lot of good realtors who want to be on a team that haven't in the past, that find comfort in a team. So this message today is for team leaders or rainmakers as much as it is for owners. So go out and, identify the people that you feel like you can make a difference with.
I agree. Kathy, I know you are a very busy woman, and I know you have more presentations today, so I don't want to keep you, but I do encourage everyone listening. We have so many different outlets for you to grab, different recruiting pieces that my team has created and Kathy and her team have created. But I encourage everyone, please go to branding.realtyonegroup.com. We put out monthly recruiting campaigns for you to use in your market. There's 4 every month, and then we also do one-off campaigns. And they're evergreen. So we encourage you guys to use them in your market. Like they really work. We've seen the results. And please, always, if you have more questions, comments, please email us at learning@realtyonegroup.com. And as always, Kathy, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate both of you.
We thank you for joining us today on another episode of One on One, a Realty ONE Group podcast. We are powered by One.U and ask if you have suggestions, recommendations, or questions, please email learning@realtyonegroup.com. And remember, pay close attention to the details, listen to understand, not respond, and always be a resource, not a sales pitch.